I don't know if it's because he's missing 2 teeth, but he really learned how to whistle. And like the other day, he was in the other room making Legos, and he was whistling "I Can Go the Distance." I was like, "What's happening?"
I love it. That's
I feel
awesome.
like I've succeeded at something as a parent.
Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of the DCL Duo podcast, brought to you by My Path Unwinding Travel. And apologies up front. We had a little hiccup in the in the pre-show. The software was not working as intended.
Yeah, just crapped out on poor Brian, and then the event like disappeared on his computer, and so he had to like recreate the live show so that we could actually go live on YouTube. So apologies if you are trying to find us right now as on the link. The old link is not the correct link, but if you're on here, you've found and refreshed and got the new link. And so I was trying to post on socials, but anyway, we got a great show. We've got a great guest with us. We've got Sara, who we're going to talk to about the Disney Destiny, her spring break cruise with kids. She put together a great presentation, but we've got a lot of news to hit on. Do you want to bring Sara on first?
Yeah, let's bring our guest in. Let's bring our guest in. We can all talk news together. Welcome, Sara.
Hi, everybody.
We are so excited to have you,
of
Sara.
being live.
I know, right? You do live presentations in your job all the time, so we're like, you can do this. This is awesome. We're so happy to have you.
I'm here.
I was reminiscing, Sara. Like 3 years ago, you reached out to us before your first cruise and had like several questions for us, like about like port arrival time and other sort of like technical stuff that you had listened to a bunch of episodes, but you just like hadn't heard those like specific details. And we actually answered your questions on the air. And now you're an experienced pro, and you're back and you're here on the show.
And they must have worked, because now you're back. So
They did. Now I'm hooked, and a lot of our disposable income is going towards Disney Cruise Line, so it's perfect. No,
it's
you guys were great, and you know, we took a big break in between cruises, but the amount that you can learn and the amount that changes and the news that comes out all the time, it's kind of crazy, because that cruise was so different. That was coming off the heels of the COVID era, and now, you know, cruising has just exploded all over the world, and it's been a kind of a fun ride.
Yeah,
Nice.
and now there's 8 ships with Disney Cruise Line, maybe 7 working at one time, but you know, details. Speaking of that, okay, we got to hit on a bunch. There are several news items to talk about. First of all, the Disney Dream just made her way across the Atlantic. I think she is arriving at Cadiz, Spain, very soon. In fact, maybe tonight. And so she's headed over for the European season. So that's about to start. The Disney Adventure this past week, for those who, I don't know, maybe been living under a rock, basically missed most of a 4-day sailing. So they had a day 1. And then on day 2, they basically canceled the cruise. But it sounds like they were having some like power issues on board even on day 1. And they ended up disembarking everyone because they were having mechanical issues and they couldn't leave the port.
I heard from somebody that the power issues were not attributable to the ship. There was something that happened with shore power in Singapore, because she plugs into shore power when she's at port. And so I think they lost shore power, and then there was a mechanical issue on board. Yeah. I heard it was the Azapods on board.
And they needed a part. Yeah, they needed a part, and they had to get the part in. So that's why they couldn't leave the port. And I think what I heard from a friend is that if they had kept the passengers on board, they would have had to have paid like really significant fines to the Singapore government. And so it actually was, they were kind of forced to disembark folks. And so they ended up paying for people to stay in a hotel for a night, although some people didn't disembark until like, I don't know, 1:00 in the morning. It sounds like it was kind of a rolling process. They gave folks that one night in the hotel, 100% back refund on that cruise, even though they got, you know, a portion of the cruise, not much, but, and then they got a 50% future cruise credit. They also got, it sounds like some people got maybe $200 in like food credit at their hotel. And then they were also going to be reimbursable for up to $500 in like incidental, like travel change costs, things like that. So, I mean, Disney Cruise Line took care of them, I would say, in a financial way. But I want to say that this is one of the many reasons why you should have travel insurance, because everyone knows that would not cover $500 isn't going to cover like 4 nights in a hotel. And so, or 3 nights in a hotel in Singapore at a nicer hotel, plus all of your food
was it
and
the Marina
everything.
Bay?
Exactly. So it's one of those things where you're going to have to outlay some money if you're somebody who got interrupted in this situation, and then you can probably get reimbursed through your travel insurance. But it's certainly not an ideal scenario. I mean, Disney Cruise Line must have spent millions of dollars on those hotel rooms just for people. And then if you think about what they're going to lose in revenue from that sailing, and then 50% off a future cruise, this is a lot. So this is a big deal. I'm sure that the Disney executives are like racking their brains, like, how do we make sure this doesn't happen again? Because this is a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Other things to report. We have to report on this. There were arrests off of the Disney Magic out of San Diego.
And I just want to say, and multiple other cruise lines, even though the headlines also focus on Disney and have photos of the Wonder, there were multiple arrests. Yeah.
And the original, because it was Customs and Border Patrol agents who did the arrest, there were a lot of people thinking this was immigration related. I will say I did not comment initially because having the background that I have, my guess was it was not immigration related. My guess was that it was criminal related, and it turned out that's the case. And so,
you didn't specify, these are crew members were arrested.
These are crew, yes.
Across multiple cruise lines, including the Magic. Yeah.
Right. And it was involving child pornography. That was what the arrests were. We don't know the specifics, but that's what it was surrounding. So really unfortunate, disturbing news.
Wait, one thing I want to say there, because I was not going to get into the detail behind why, because we're a family-friendly show, but I just want to say it was not about anything that occurred on board the ship with passengers. So I just this is not... This is not
There's
that.
no accusations of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move to more positive news. There's a San Diego port agreement that definitely indicates that there's going to be a full-time West Coast ship and probably a half-time West Coast ship, which is what we had seen with the Catalina agreements, that seemed to signal that, but we hadn't seen the corresponding San Diego agreement. Now that happened more than a week ago, but we weren't live last week, so we didn't get to report on that.
Well, the numbers are such that it's not clear that just the Magic and the Wonder could sustain the kind of passenger counts they're talking about. So it may be that they're planning to send another ship, a bigger ship, probably, if I had to guess, something in the Dream class of ship to San Diego if they're going to send something different. But yes, and they will be on alternating port days. So one of the ships will be there, I think it's on like a weekend, and the other one will be there sometime midweek. So yes, there will be multiple ships sailing out of San Diego for longer periods of time in order to meet this new port commitment that they have.
And that starts in, I believe, 2027. Okay, so the other 3 things to report on. There are new menus rolling out across the older ships. They are sort of aligning the menus a little bit more closely to the Wish class. So they're borrowing items from the Wish class and bringing them onto the Magic and the Dream class, but they are also eliminating some of the fan favorites, it appears. The Chateaubriand seems to be gone. The fried brie seems to be gone. The fried bread thing that comes in the frying pan in Rapunzel's, that may be gone, right? So there are some fan favorites that are gone, but it sounds like they're kind of revamping some of those menus. It's a mixed bag. This is good. This is bad, in my opinion. And, it just depends on which items go and which items come.
And someone pointed out today they've changed the structure of the menu a bit. So instead of having like salad soup or appetizers, salad, soups, it's now just all small plates. They were speculating that might be because they're trying to get you just to order a 3-course dinner, a small plate, entree, dessert. Just know, thus far, we have heard zero move by the company to move more toward the models that some of the other kind of more budget cruise lines, I would say, are moving to, where they're charging extra for more. Just order whatever you want. If you're a 5-course menu person, you can still order 5 things off the menu. You can order 10 things off the menu. So, but it does look like they've changed the structure of the menu a bit in addition to removing some items, adding some items.
Okay. In other news, new Castaway Club gifts finally. I think most of us are happy to hear about that. So those appeared on the Fantasy and apparently on the Wish today as well. So it's a new backpack, a new wet dry bag. There's a cooler bag for Pearl, I believe. There's a water bottle that I believe is platinum. So they look really nice. I posted them on our Instagram. There is also new holiday ornaments. They are chandelier ornaments. There are 8 of them because, of course, there are 8 ships in the Disney fleet. So each one of them is matching the chandelier on the different ships. But guess what? You can only get them on the corresponding ship. So if you want the magic ornament, you got to sail on the magic. If you want the wish ornament, you got to sail on the wish. So they're basically forcing you to be a completionist all over again. So if you've already got that Grand Slam, if you've already been to Singapore, so sorry, you're going to have to do it again if you want to collect all those ornaments. I would say they're pretty, but I wouldn't say it's worth it to pay for 8 cruises. Yeah.
Well, look, coming to eBay near you, which is far less than the cost of a cruise. But also what I'm shocked by is that they didn't do this as a blind box kind of thing. They didn't have like blind box ornaments for all the ships, and you would have bought multiple blind boxes then on board. And so I was a little surprised they didn't continue that trend.
Yeah. Anyway, lots of news. Did I miss anything, you guys? Sarah, Brian? I don't know if I missed anything. That's a lot.
I kept the list. You're good. We covered all the topics that we talked about pre-show.
Sounds like your list.
Yeah. Okay. Sarah, what are you most excited about this news roundup?
Oh man, I mean, I would have loved a blind box. I think those are so clever. And just speaking from experience, when they were at Disney World, Munchlings or Wishables or whatever they were, I mean, we ended up buying so many. That would have been really cool to have the Destiny chandelier ornament, which I don't have now. So darn it. And I've actually never been on the old ships. So as long as they don't take away the truffle persets before I get to try them, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I think Sam would burn the ship to the ground if the truffle persets were not on board yet.
Yeah, I might burn it to the ground.
I
gotta say, I gotta agree with some of the comments. I am not into the blind box thing because it's fun and it makes for a great reveal video. I bought blind box funnels because I wanted all the funnels, and now I have all the funnels. Thank you, Tom Tweedle, who sent me 4 of the funnels, but I got 4 of them on board. I was lucky I didn't get any duplicates. But I don't like the idea of having to like scramble and trade. Like I would rather just like purchase all the different ones myself, but I don't like the idea of having to go to every ship in order to purchase them. So
there should be maybe like one box with all of them that you have to pay like a premium for. And then if not, you're welcome to do the blind box option.
I would pay double.
I would pay double
just to get the thing.
Right.
Because otherwise I'm going to spend triple opening boxes that don't have the thing in it that Sam wants.
And then you can get a little paint pen to write the date on it underneath when you actually go on it one day.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly. I don't want to pay double, but I would pay a premium for a complete set of any of those things. And people do all the pins all the time. They do those blind pin things. So it works for Disney Cruise Line, but this one is not a blind box, but you have to go on all the ships. All right, well, we're going to talk about Sarah's spring break Disney cruise on the Disney Destiny. This was your first time on the Destiny. You have tell us which ships have you sailed on now, and you're still a relatively new cruiser, even though you're a pro because you listen to the DCL Duo podcast.
So this was only our second Disney cruise in 2023. Yeah. We took a 3-night on the Wish. I had been on one cruise prior to that, a very short 3-night on Royal Caribbean ship out of Port Canaveral. So we live in the Jacksonville, Florida area, and we have cruise ports that are easily drivable. And we were not a cruising family. We did a lot of Disney growing up. I mean, your 8th grade field trip is to SeaWorld, and then your 9th grade field trip is to Hollywood Studios. Like all the kids just got back. All the parents were just at Epcot for the whatever field trip. That's what happens when you grow up in Florida. It's very cool. But cruising was not a thing that my parents did. We may have convinced them that it's time for them to embark on that part of their life, maybe next year. So stay tuned for that.
But you're going to be in their cruise era, I think, if to join their cruise era.
Well, I've tried to convince them to come on more in between, but we'll see. We're getting them there. So yeah, new-ish to Disney cruise, but I like to overdo it with many things in my life. So when I have a new hobby, I really have to invest. And then if I love it, I just keep investing in it fully.
So we love that.
Sarah, what attracted you to the Destiny? What made you want to get on board?
So originally, it was just the dates. So my husband is a pilot. He flies in the Navy Reserves and he flies corporate, and his schedule is all over the place, but we know certain pockets of time where he has off. And I was like, what aligns with our spring break this year? And I was looking at the fantasy. I wanted to try an older ship because, as I've heard on your podcast many times, there's this sort of like elitist fascination with the older ships. Like, I'm like, I just want to go on the Wonder. When is it going to be near me? Because everyone talks about it like it's this elusive,
it's magical. Yeah.
Magical thing. So I was looking at an older ship just to try out, but the only one that really aligned was the Destiny. And at the time, I hadn't really looked at it at all. And I was like, I loved the Wish and the beauty and the, like, I'm not really a girly girl, but I love that chandelier and some of those grand features. And I wasn't really sure, even though I love Marvel, that I wanted to go on that ship. And then I saw that Hercules was going to be a musical, and the Lion King's Pride Lands was one of the restaurants. So sold, we booked it. It was done.
Sold. I love that. I love that. Now, how many nights did you end up on the Destiny? Were you on one of the 4-night sailings or one of the 5-night sailings?
This was a 5-night, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And having been on so few cruises, I know everyone says, their favorite.
The longer, the better.
The longer, the better. And I could totally, see doing a much longer cruise. But 5 nights was a great sweet spot for the time we had off.
Yeah. Nice. And how old are your kids? So this was your family of 4, right? How old are your kids?
Mm-hmm. So my daughter, Reagan, is 10. She'll be 11 soon. This was her last time in the kids club. And then my son is 6, Grant. So
awesome.
Nice. I skipped a slide to put them up here so everyone can see them. And if you're listening to this after, we will put our plug in. Like, you can watch this entire episode on YouTube, even if you didn't catch it live. So head over there if you want to see all the great visuals that we'll be talking about this evening. So you sailed out of Fort Lauderdale. Is this your first time sailing out of Miami, Fort Lauderdale, or have you done it before? Yes. Okay.
Well, technically, I went on sort of like a day trip booze cruise to the Bahamas in college, but we stayed on Bahamas for the week, but you took a small cruise ship there. I don't recommend that, unless it's your college era and you're okay with that. But I've been to South Florida many times. A lot of friends from school are from there, but it's just not some place we go often. So it was kind of cool to check it out for a day. The kids wanted to get in the ocean for a few minutes, and the weather was gorgeous. The hotel was fine. It wasn't amazing, but when you have Marriott points to use, you just do it. And they had food right there in the hotel and a decent old fashioned. So we were good.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to just be right there close to the port. I mean, you could have actually drive the day of based on where you live, but it's nice to kind of get settled in locally and not have to worry about doing a long drive early in the morning, of course, with, waking up your kids early and all of that. And just kind of being settled. And then you have a much more leisurely day the next day. So you stayed at AC Hotels, Fort Lauderdale Beach, and you gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. The beds weren't my favorite, but I knew the Disney cruise beds were going to be there the next day. So it was fine.
Exactly. I never sleep well in the hotel the night before because it's not my bed and it's not a Disney Cruise Line bed. Those are the two best beds. Yeah, absolutely.
So first time experiencing Disney's kind of bespoke cruise terminal there in Fort Lauderdale. What did you think of the terminal? And then I'm also curious, you mentioned on your slide here, you had some major port delays. I wonder if that's attributable to the same things that we've been hearing about, but what happened there?
I think so. The port itself is great. I mean, it was easy to get to. It was, a little bit of traffic, but nothing major. It's clean. It serves its purpose. I was shocked that as a Silver Castaway member, so my second cruise, I got boarding group 6 at like 11 or 11:15 in the morning. Because, when you really know the parks, you really know how to rope drop all the things.
That's right.
So we were excited, but then when you got there, it was like the lightning lane and the standby lane were merged, and there was no sign for the back of the line, and everyone was there. People were very confused. People were arriving on Disney buses and just dumping out towards the front of the queue and like trying to like make a new line, and Disney people cannot handle that. My husband does really great under pressure. He was like, it's fine. We'll get there. We're going to get on the ship. Like, he's had to live on a ship before, but for me, right. I got this great boarding group and I'm being passed by. So we made some little friends in line, which was fine. But I think what we heard was that it was something with their new technology. It took us over an hour from when we parked and got in line to when they started calling boarding group 1. And we got there, maybe 15 minutes before 11. So it's not like
I heard news this week that Josh D'Amaro is allegedly thinking about building the Disney Super app, coalescing all of the Disney apps into the Disney Plus app. And please don't. Please get the standalone apps right first and working, and then you can start thinking about a super app. But like the tech back end here is not great for that.
The problem that I've heard, I remember one time we were on Castaway, and Castaway Key, and we actually met someone who worked for Disney IT, and I don't know his name. I'll never
should we ever say it on the show.
I would never say it anyway, but I don't even remember. But we met this man who happened to work for Disney IT, and we asked him, why is like the technology so bad? This was like in the restart back in like 2021, 2022, maybe. And he said, because it's all like being built on top of legacy systems. So they keep like Frankensteining the monster, right? Like, they keep adding parts to this thing that is too old and decrepit. And they need to just like throw it away and build from scratch.
The other thing we were told is that it's the execs have these great ideas. They come in, they give them a week to build something, and they don't test it, too. And then it goes out and it all fails and collapses. And so,
so it's multiple problems. It's just a mess. But anyway, so if they're going to do that, they've got to build each app individually and start from scratch. But
but don't close one until the other's ready to go or something.
Exactly. Well, they can't ever take the whole system offline because they're all intertwined with one another, really. I mean, that's I think one of the big problems. All right, well, it's a slow process. About what time did you get on board on board the ship, do you think?
So I think our time was 11 or 11:30. We got on by like 12:30, 12:45. So it took some time.
Yeah.
It's not terrible. I think the last time it was so smooth out of Port Canaveral on the Wish because we had a later time to begin with. So it's fine. The kids, we were so excited, so happy to be there. Like I said, it can't be a bad day.
Yeah. Embarkation
any day on a Disney cruise is better than any day I can imagine at home. So yeah.
Amen.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So you get on the ship, you board into the beautiful Grand Hall of the Disney Destiny. What did you think about the Grand Hall space when you saw? I mean, you've seen something similar on the Wish.
Yeah, but you liked that decor. It's very different, the Destiny.
Yeah, but this was stunning. It's something about the shapes and the textures that they've pulled, and obviously I've listened to some podcasts and YouTube videos, but they pulled elements from all the design features of Wakanda, and it's stunning. I mean, it's like things that are made of metal that look like they have a fabric texture, mixed with, like the steel, like suit of T'Challa, and then you've got Spider-Man up there like, hey guys, welcome to your cruise, and then this like regal carpet, but it all works. It really, it was beautiful. And you walk in and man, that's what I would tell the Disney execs to do. Find a way to bottle that emotion of like stepping over the gangplank and hearing your family name. Let's bottle that and sell it with your signature scent.
That's exactly right. Absolutely. I think a lot of the time the images, the concept art never does the grand hall justice. I felt that way about both the Treasure and the Destiny, where the concept art kind of didn't really excite me. And then both of those ships, when I actually, because the Wish, I think from the get-go was a beautiful, beautiful concept art. You could really see princess theming in that concept art. I don't think that the Treasure's concept art and the Destiny's concept art translated quite as well. But then when you walk on and you see it in person, it is really, both of them really, really beautiful and really grand. I mean, I know you haven't been on the older ships, but it makes a much bigger statement to walk into the Grand Hall on any Wish class ship than to walk into the atrium on one of the 4 original ships, because it's just not quite as grand. It's a lot more compact. They're all beautiful, but it's just a different, different scale.
Yeah.
That's, I was just going to say, to your point about them needing to build the app to bottle the emotion, this is the feature they need. When you open the Disney Cruise Line app, it says "Welcome back" with clapping going behind it, like you're entering the atrium. Oh man, I'd open that app like 100 times a day. Yeah. Anyway,
absolutely,
I would love that. I do have a video clip of that saved so that I can watch it when I'm having a bad day.
So last hurrah for the kids club. Sounds like some kids are aging out of the club space a little bit.
Yes. My kids love the kids club so much. And my daughter, she's she's kind of in her like tween era, I guess. She'll be 11 soon. And so this was the last time she would be in the kids club, but had only been on one before this, but they absolutely loved it. So, they're not in a place to go sit down for a lovely lunch, even though one day, again, would love to approach that angle. But we went to Marceline and then immediately went to the kids club and started exploring. And they've been on the Wish, so they knew, but it's been like a couple years. So it was very different for my son, who knows the Marvel movies now, or some of them. And just the creativity they can have in that space is pretty fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and he was much littler. I mean, he was like 3 or 4 on your first cruise. So he was in that younger cohort, if they had that at the time. Actually, I'm not sure if they did, because this is 2020. It
was 2023. And I remember he played with his sister on that cruise.
Okay.
And I do remember one night he scanned his band, said what his name was, went down the slide and like left us and we picked him up at 10:30 at night. We're like, "You're 3, what's happening?" So he's aging fine with it. He loves it.
Yeah. But it makes sense. He might not have remembered all of it. Like your daughter would remember sort of all of it. And the on the Wish class, they really are the same kids club spaces, which is nice. And it's probably the best kids club. But yeah, it's a different experience as a 3-year-old than it is as a 6-year-old, I'm sure.
For sure.
And of course, a different experience as a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old, I'm sure. All right. Well, you went to sail away, I take it, and did the whole deck party and 5 ships in port that day.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see in that bottom picture, but that's the Dream leaving right before us. So it was, I think, 2 celebrity ships, maybe an MSC, and then us. We were the last ones to go, but it was sort of like that anticipation building. We really love the Let's Set Sail theme song in the car. We listen to it a lot. And so they don't really, again, remember that from 2023. So there was a lot of anticipation building. It was fun to be a part of it again. And they were on the water slides already, and ice cream and cocktails. And it was a great day. The weather was stunning.
Soft serve's in full effect in this photo. Did you get to hear the Dreams horns on her?
That's his towel on his neck, but it looks like that maybe there's this weird soft serve thing going on.
There's a towel and the ice cream cone next to each other. Yeah.
Did you get to hear the Dream Player horns on the way out?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, nice.
It was pretty cool. And, a lot of people that were sitting up in that area, we were all kind of chatting together, and so many of them had been on the other ships. And it was just kind of like a cool camaraderie while we all waited for this to happen. And then you could hear the other people who were brand new to the whole thing. And where do I go? And what do I do? She just went up the slide, and I don't know if she's allowed to be up there alone, but no one told me anything. And, it's a really effervescent environment that first day. It's fun.
Nice.
Yeah. the energy of the ship on embarkation day is at like another level because you've got people who are excited, returning cruisers, but you've also got all of these new first timers who really have no idea what they're doing. Yeah. I mean, and even if they listen to our show or they watch other, podcasters on YouTube or whatnot, it's still different being on it. I mean, you can prepare to a large degree, but it's not the same as like having to navigate the ship yourself and figuring out the schedule and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that is something that you just kind of have to get used to. We've got a question in the chat. I think this is a great question. From Ashley, suggestions for which Marvel movies to watch in advance, and maybe which ones would your kids suggest? And I can piggyback off you, Sarah, but I'd love to throw that question to you.
So for my son, with his age, I mean, he's all boy, he's into all of that stuff. But my daughter is of the age where she's on all the coasters. So Guardians was an easy first pick for us. It's got really, a great soundtrack. And if your kids are going to the parks, they'll be on that ride. It's got Rocket and Groot are kind of like throughout the ship now with the Marvel. They also have that really cute Groot shorts show on Disney Junior. So maybe your kid's not ready for the full Guardians movie, but you can kind of like tease it. Same thing with Spider-Man. I think they saw the Spider-Man movies and then there's that Disney Junior show. So it's like we try to find things where there's a little bit of a collaboration across the way. And then we showed them Black Panther, the first one, for sure, because of this particular ship being about Wakanda, and they were so into it. And we really didn't meet a lot of characters, but they did meet T'Challa in the kids club and, walked around all the time with their Wakanda forever. So that was really fun. And now we're starting to watch a few more, but some of the original ones are a little darker. And like we tried to watch the first Avengers and my 6-year-old son kind of lost interest unless like it was a Hulk smash moment, So you just kind of have to like find what fits their age and a storyline that works. But in general, they really like them.
That's super helpful. I think Spidey and Friends is a great start, a great intro through the cartoon universe of these superheroes. So I think that's a great suggestion. I was going to say, of course, Black Panther is I think probably number one on the list as far as the actual movies. And then I would probably put Avengers in there, just the first Avengers movie, because that's where you get to meet Loki and where he's sort of the main villain. And so that would be why I would suggest that, not because, you'll get an introduction to sort of the main Avengers characters. And so you'll have some familiarity, but I feel like to enjoy this ship, you don't have to be like hardcore Marvel fan. I've seen everything, but if you kind of know who the characters are, that's probably sort of the level that would be helpful for most people.
I will just say this. If you've watched Big Hero 6, you've already watched Marvel. So there you go. So Max is a Marvel character.
Technically, he's a Marvel character. Yeah.
I don't know that I realized that. Now I feel like a bad Marvel fan. Write that down for trivia in the future.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about day 2, because day 2 was your day at sea and you had a rainy day. So did that put a damper, I mean, literally or figuratively, on your day to have a rainy day at sea? Less pool deck time, I imagine.
Yeah. We live in Florida, so I don't need hot sun. Like I wasn't escaping. Like we're already using our pool and everything here. We kind of like the rainy day adventure mood. The only downside would be that more people were inside, and all those spaces just felt that much more crowded. Like the Incredicourse, we did have to wait in a line for, but I told them they could each have one thing that we wait in line for, because I heard all about the lines for everything. And then if there's more that you want to do beyond that, fine, but let's try to have one each. And so we waited for the Incredicourse, and I'm like, there are no photos of me, and there never will be, but I did it with my daughter.
Good for you. I don't think there are any.
I felt really goofy doing that.
I
felt really goofy doing it too. Yeah, I think we each ran it once, actually, with our friend Ashley,
cheated,
who's in the chat.
There was a part
we did it
on, for sure.
Yeah, we did it. We did it once, and we were like, okay, that's one and done for us. And I don't know that there is any video or pictures of us doing it either.
No.
It looks to me like you saw maybe some Zaya and Gamble stuff in the atrium or the Grand Hall that day.
So on our Wish cruise, that was the one thing I think we didn't research enough, but also on that quick 3-night cruise, which is fun to get away for a weekend. But if it's your introduction, you know, you really have to pick and choose what you want to do. So we just didn't do a lot of that, like, it's not streetmosphere, shipmosphere. Like that was really cool to experience, because different times of the day you're walking around and just something really awesome is happening. Or you can pop your head into a trivia session that's going on and see what you know. So we saw some Zaya and Gamble, and they were really fun and funny and great for the kids. And then like that evening we went and saw the With Great Power, and I thought that was just a hoot. I was like, this is not what I expected on Disney. Although I was laughing harder than most people. I think we had late dining. So I think I heard on a previous cruise that you guys recommend go to the later one, because maybe people have loosened up a little bit more, had their dinner and cocktails. So a lot of people were like kind of stiff with the jokes, but they were such pros. This Zaya and Gamble, I mean, they were fantastic. I really enjoyed them.
Yeah. Nice. I enjoy it, whether it's an early show or a late show, because I'm also like really into it. I love an interactive show. And so I'm like laughing my head off, whether it's the early show or the late show. It felt like when we were on The Treasure recently and we were at the Indiana Jones show, which is the counter to the With Great Power show. We felt like the people around us weren't laughing as hard as we were. And we were like, what's going on? And then we're like, oh, maybe these people haven't had a cocktail yet. They need a cocktail.
They didn't have enough of the monkey head
Indiana
cocktail.
Jones is.
Yeah, exactly. They haven't had their espresso martini yet.
Right. 100%.
My favorite part about this slide is the espresso martini got its own bullet point. So
I know.
Well, I think maybe if you go one page through, you can see, if you go to the next slide, there might be a picture of one. I don't know. Oh no, it's not on this one. It's on another picture somewhere else. Well, we'll get to it, but we did get. I love those little coffee bars that they built into there. I'm not a huge coffee drinker, but I like a tea. I like a good coffee in the morning. I love an espresso martini, and my kids were excited about the stamps, and they could get fun drinks. So it was kind of like a different phase for us. Like we got to try out new things this time around with their ages. And my son got a haircut on the first time that we went on the Wish, and then he got one again on this cruise. So that was really fun.
What did you think?
I love the haircut.
On the last slide, you guys actually wandered up to the front of the ship. What did you think about that view up there on the front?
So I was not with them during that. I was either at the rainforest room, or maybe I went to the gym or something. Like, again, my husband's lived on ships. His number one thing about the Disney ships is how clean they are. He's like, there's no rust, hardly at all. He's like, you can't do that on any ship. Like, it's incredible how they maintain it. I get a little bit of vertigo when I go up to like the top part, and I did it later in the week, and it was windy. So it was beautiful, but like, it makes me feel unsettled somehow. But they thought it was really cool. It was neat to be up there kind of when no one else was.
Yeah. And for those listening after the fact, that when I say go up front on the ship, on the Wish class ships, you can actually go all the way out to the front outdoors and look back on the bridge in the front of the ship, which is something you can't do on the other classes of ship. Yeah.
I gotta say, I love the haircut experience for the kids on board. I think it's a great option. If you like, for us, I hadn't before our last sailing, I just hadn't had time to get Nathan to the barber shop and get him a haircut, and I wanted some nice family pictures. And so Brian was like, well, why don't we get him a haircut on board? And our friends Scott and Emily, they always get their son Quentin haircuts on board. So they were like, oh yeah, the haircuts are great. And they're not really much more expensive than on land. I mean, they're a little bit more expensive. You're paying basically like an adult haircut price, I would say, instead of like, if you go to Great Clips, like take Nathan,
but they're all really talented barbers too. So yeah.
Well, the one we go to here has free arcade games. So we pay a premium that's close to that because they have arcade games for the kids. But I will say the tip is that there were no haircut times available pre-booking when I realized, oh, he hasn't had his haircut and we need it. And so we just went, and I think this is how we did it on the last cruise. We just walked into the barbershop on that first day, and they had an early time. Everything was listed at like 8 p.m. I'm like, he doesn't want a haircut at 8 p.m. That's insane. So so definitely look and ask. That one was easy to book.
Nice.
Awesome.
Are you listening to our show because you want to make the most out of your next vacation? Great news. The fabulous team over at My Path Unwinding Travel can help guide you so you don't miss a thing. Their team of professional travel advisors are caring, knowledgeable, and experienced. It's why we use them to book our own travel. My Path Unwinding Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner, which means they are recognized by Disney for their expertise and service. They have sailed on all the Disney ships, including in concierge, visited the theme parks, adventured with Disney, relaxed at Aulani, and so much more. Whether it's a Disney cruise, a theme park vacation, or Adventures by Disney, or if you are looking to expand beyond the mouse, My Path Unwinding Travel will elevate your next vacation planning experience. Even if you have already booked, reach out for a complimentary consultation to make your vacation even more magical. Ready to talk to the experts? Head over to mypathunwinding.com/DCL Duo or email dclduo@mypathunwinding.com so they know we sent you their way. Thanks, My Path Unwinding, for sponsoring today's show. Now back to the episode. All right, night one is definitely in Marvel, it looks like.
This is night two, actually, Brian.
Night two.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, night two.
Night two. Where was night one done?
Yeah. 1923.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great place to start. I actually think
it was a nice place to start.
Yeah, I've given this pro tip before that if you want some time to get to know your servers, like if you've got like any kind of like food allergies or very specific food preferences, I would highly recommend requesting to be at 1923 the first night, because it's where you can actually talk to your servers because there's no show happening. And if you're in Marvel or if you're in the Pride Lands restaurant, like there's a show, and so you're going to just get less. Yeah, you're going to get less time to kind of have that longer conversation with your servers, and that can be a little bit difficult. They're wonderful experiences, but it's just that introduction is a lot faster.
So what did your kids think about?
We did click. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say we clicked with our serving team quite a bit this time. I don't really remember the first cruise, but we had a great team. And then we were not seated with another family, but the family that was like right next to us had two little kids, and we had a great time with them. And I think because it was 1923 and we were late seating, so a lot of people did not have the younger kids, but our two families happened to have them. We just had like fun connection, and then that carried through for the rest of the cruise. So.
Yeah. Well, and the great thing is if you're seated right near another party, you're going to be seated somewhere near them. They might not be right next to you in every restaurant, but they will be seated near you in every restaurant because you'll be in the same section, typically with the same servers, right? Whichever tables are like right next to you. And so the arrangements, the table arrangements are slightly different in each restaurant, which is why you might not be right next to them in every restaurant, but you'll be, like I said, close by. So that's always fun. Now, had you requested private dining, or was that just kind of random? I mean, you're a family of four, so sometimes they'll seat you with other people and sometimes they'll seat you just you.
I may have, just because my husband has to travel and be gone like all summer. So I might have requested that just because we wanted some good family time, and I will chat to anyone and everyone and like learn their life story in 30 minutes if given the opportunity. So I think for us, it was nice to like just focus on family time, and we have a big family here. So we're always doing it with, stuff with everybody. And it was kind of nice to just be the four of us and really kind of focus. And we still were able to do that, even though we made some little friends at the table next door. So yeah.
Brian feels your husband's pain because I do the same thing and make friends with people in 20, 30 minutes.
I can actually see what actually drives me crazy, Sam, is when we're in line for something and you can hear the conversation ahead of you, and I just have to like physically like be like, please don't. Like, please don't get involved with these people right now. Like, I know you want to give them all of your tips.
It did happen. I know. It happened at the port. And then my son made a little friend that was on our excursion on Lookout Key Day. And I don't know if the mom was great, but I think the dads were both like, here we go. It's kind of funny.
love that.
So
love that.
How did your kids find the Marvel restaurant experience? Are they fans?
Oh, they love that. I think that's their favorite one. They just, I don't know, the ambiance in there. And I thought for some reason that the second night they would do the show from the other ship with Ant-Man, but I guess that's not what they're doing. It was just a slideshow of all the concept art, but that was really cool too. So I don't know. We really enjoyed the time in Marvel. It wasn't like as loud and in your face as I remember on The Wish. I thought it was pretty pleasant.
Yeah.
And the trivia was fun.
Yeah, they don't do two shows in the themed restaurants on the Destiny, although they do two different menus on the Destiny, which is different than on the other ships for a 5-night sailing. But it is one of those unique things. We have yet to see what Destiny will do on 7-night sailings. It's got a couple of 7-night sailings later, this summer in July. I want to say in early or mid-July, it has, I think, 2 7-night sailings. We have some friends who will be on, who'll also come on our show to talk about it. And we'll find out kind of what they do in terms of, is there a second show that they do in Pride Lands? Do they do do they do 2 shows in Marvel, or do they stick with the one? So we don't know exactly how that will be. All right, you've got.
And I was going to also say on the 5-night, I didn't realize that there is no pirate night. So the elusive pirate night menu, just like the Wonder, still have not experienced.
Right. Fair. You're not missing much. You're not. You still have a pirate night. You just don't have a pirate menu.
Yeah. No, pirate night was fantastic. Yeah.
So no menu. We're on to day 3, Nassau. I foresee a Palo brunch in our future based on the photo of the rose. Yes.
And we did do Palo brunch on our first cruise. This one I was able to book ahead of time, which was great. And I put rain, eat, chill, repeat because it was kind of another rainy day, but then it really turned into a beautiful day. And I don't know, something about the sea days was perfect for our family at this time. I think as you cruise more, maybe you want to spend a little bit more time exploring ports in the world. But, and I love the Bahamas. Honestly, I know people, I love ice blue water. I love snorkeling, scuba diving. I could go do a beach day in the Bahamas any day and I'd be happy. But there was something to be said for saying, okay, we really have like 3 sea days. That just felt like the price tag and the amount of time we would have to experience, it was worth it. So yeah, a lot of fun.
I love it.
Yes. Palo brunch.
You did
and
Palo
I think that
brunch.
might be on another slide.
Yeah.
If you want to go to the next slide, you can see.
Yeah. And then I want to ask you about Uncharted Adventure, because I know that you guys did that. So this was your,
There's a photo of the pizza, Sam. There's a photo of the pizza.
I know, it's the gorgonzola
and the chicken parm,
and the chicken parm and the bubbly. You took all of the recommendations, Sarah. Well done. How do you feel about Palo? Is this like now I must do this on every cruise kind of a thing?
100%. And I'll have to let you know my dilemma later about one of the next ones where I'm going with just my children because I don't know how I'm going to be able to handle that. And I've still never done Palo dinner and I hear so many great things. But Palo is just such a beautiful experience. And if your kids aren't kids club kids, but you really want to have like sort of a date morning or evening, the people at the kids club are like, oh, you're going to Palo. Okay, we'll take notes. And they're like taking notes because I think even if your kid was like a little upset, they're going to try extra hard to give you that time that you need at Palo to really soak in the ambiance experience.
Mommy's having chicken parm right now. Just go find something else to do.
Just find something else. Yeah. Here's an iPad. Right. Go play. Yeah, exactly.
So, what is it that we need to do right now?
Right. Yeah. I do think you're right. They do they'll make an extra effort to try and sort of distract and get your kids involved in something. If your kid comes over and says, I want my parents, and then they see the note that you're at Palo. Yeah, they're going to try their best. My honest advice, even if you are sailing as a solo cruiser with kids without a partner and another adult with you, I say go to Palo brunch by yourself. I would totally go to Palo brunch by myself.
Or head to your Facebook group and see if you can find a group of people you're comfortable with. And just have a little group brunch on board. Yeah,
that's interesting. Because the dinners are hard to schedule. Yeah, with kids. When it's just you. That's interesting. Yeah, but it rained again that day. But it was like it was so beautiful because it was like we were in this gorgeous restaurant having lovely wines and Prosecco. And then like the rain was coming down over the Bahamas outside, and everyone in there was like, oh, this is like, you could hear everybody at all the tables, this collective sigh, that we were all experiencing it together. So it was great. We love Palo. Highly recommend.
Awesome. All right. Well, so did you do the Uncharted Adventure or did you do the Happy Hunt?
Oh, is it not called the same thing? Okay, maybe that's me being the not tech person in the family.
That's okay.
I thought they were all Uncharted Adventures, but there's different versions on different ship, but maybe I'm wrong.
No. Okay, so there's on the Wish class, there are 2 different games available on the Wish class. One is called the Haunted Mansion Happy Hunt, which is I think what you did. And the other one is called...
Just kidding.
That one's not available on the Wish. The Happy Hunt game is only available on the Destiny and the Treasure because it has Haunted Mansion Parlor on board.
Yeah. Right. Correct. Okay. So
But on Wish, Treasure, and Destiny is another game called Uncharted Adventure that also uses screens around the ship, but it requires you to use a smartphone. And so you actually have to like connect it through the app. So it's a little bit of a different game versus the band is what you use for Happy Hunt. Right. The Uncharted Adventure game is kind of glitchy. And again, it only exists on the Wish class. On the Dream and the Fantasy, the closest thing is the Midship Detective Agency, which is, by the way, the #1 game in my opinion.
I know, so I've heard.
Yeah, and the Magic and the Wonder don't have any of this interactive game.
So did your kids like the Happy Hunt?
I have like 75 photos of them doing this all over the ship. They were obsessed with it. They wanted to do it every day. They thought this was the best thing ever. And like, it tells you that there's 12 ghosts to find, but when you find the 12th one, there's like, I don't know, spoiler alert, like maybe a 13th one, just in case you didn't get enough. And it was really like this viral thing across the ship that you'd get to one and like other kids are like, what's happening over there? And the dad or the mom would come up and be like, what are you guys playing? And like, how do I do it? You know, it was really cool. And sometimes it was a little loud and a little jarring because they'd be doing a trivia or something, you know, a drawing class and everyone's being really polite and like drawing together. And then it's like, ha ha ha, you found the Mariner. And you're like, oh my goodness, I love it. But I love it. It was great fun.
Yeah, I thought the most ridiculous part of it was standing in elevator lobbies in front of mirrors, like waving my arm like
waving
this.
Your arm. And you look ridiculous.
Took the longest. I'm like, this is awkward.
Totally. Yeah. Well, it's interesting to me. Disney Cruise Line really hasn't like advertised these games. Like when you get on board the ship, you don't like have anything that pops up in your app that tells you, hey, there's 2 interactive games on board. Are you interested in playing? And if so, here's how to do it, right? Like there is not, it's literally just this like word of mouth thing. And then people see people doing it around the ship. And then when we have done either the Uncharted Adventure or the Happy Hunt on these ships, we are also approached by other guests who are like, what are you playing? How do I do this? Right. And so, you know, the answer is you need a Magic Band Plus or Disney Band Plus, they're calling them on the ships. And that is probably because of IP law. But anyway, so you need a Magic Band Plus. It does need to be updated and it has to have a decent charge, meaning it can't be like dead. It has to have, it doesn't have to be like you just charged it, but it needs to have a decent charge. And it should work. If you have technical difficulties, you got to go to guest services and it's a pain, but it's a very fun game. I would say that's much better than the Uncharted Adventure, which you have to use a phone for. And like I said, is kind of glitchy.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Well, that one, it was great. It was great fun. The kids loved it. And I guess if you do it, once you complete the mission on one band and you start another band, I think the order changes. So
correct.
Of like which ghosts you get. So you can play it multiple times.
If you do 2 at the same time, you actually don't end up traveling together. So Brian and I started the game on our last sailing at the same time, but we ended up having to like split up because we got sent to different places at the same time.
I was going to complete this thing, and so
Brian completed it. I did not actually complete it. I'm sad to say on this last sailing, but Brian completed it.
So we got a big slide here that we're gonna have to spend a couple minutes on because you've got Frozen the musical, Pride Lands Dinner, which I want to hear your impressions of Pride Lands, and then I need to understand more Dramamine for the win. It sounds like things got a little rough out there.
Right. There were actual seas. according to my husband, again, who,
he's in the Navy.
My very first Royal Caribbean cruise, I experienced some seasickness, and on like other catamaran kind of boats, I love to be on the water, but like, I'm that person that's like, smelling the thing that makes you feel better and taking the Dramamine. So on my very first cruise, he was like, this isn't rough seas. I think it may be just something with you. But I knew when the boat stopped at night, and we were in port, and I felt better. So I was a little nervous when they came out on the loudspeaker and said we were expected to have, up to like, what did they say? 13 to something like foot swells in the Bahamas. And actually a friend of mine was with her family on the Wish at the same time. And we were docked next to each other like earlier that day, and which was kind of funny. We were able to take pictures, but she was like, I was not expecting that. I was told the Bahamas, it doesn't get like that. It was moving like pendant lights in the Lion King were going like this. So I was fine. Actually, my daughter was, I think there's like this anxiety the first time you feel that, if you've never felt that the ship is moving. It started when everyone was in Frozen, and it started like as a vertigo, like something in my ears felt off, and everyone was like looking around like, do you feel that? Did I eat something weird? And then by the time dinner happened, the poor dancer who, she does these gorgeous leaps in this African dancing, she was having to like take steps back to like balance herself. And I think some of her jumps, she was going to start and she stopped because the ship was rocking that much. But I was fine. I went and took Dramamine right before dinner. So we went to Frozen, which was absolutely fantastic. I've never seen it live before, and I was so impressed. And my son, 6, we watch a lot of musicals in our house. And sometimes he's like, and then other times he loves it. He loved it. So anyways, Pride Land's dinner was amazing, but it was a little bit more dramatic than I think.
What did you think?
A lot of people were freaking out.
What did you think of the food in Pride Lands? Like, any standout dishes for you? Anything that you really liked?
Yes. So the dinner that I had, I'm trying to remember what it was not my favorite, but I would have eaten like 3 of the appetizer, which was like a shrimp with like a
shrimp curry.
It was like peri-peri shrimp.
Yeah.
With
the peri-peri
some
shrimp.
kind
of,
that
was really good.
It had like a grits, but it wasn't grits, and I can't remember what it was called. It was absolutely fantastic.
What'd you have for dinner that you didn't love so much? Do you remember?
I feel like it was something everyone recommended, but I think it was the fish.
The Corvina.
It was the Corvina, and it felt like it was rushed and brought out, and it wasn't like the temperature maybe that it could have been.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine. It was totally fine. I'm sure that, they also, there was something about the ship and the drama of like the ship moving that much. The servers had like a different anxiousness to them that evening. You could tell. And maybe they were trying to make sure that they didn't feel sick too. I don't know. There was a little bit of a rush, but like the entertainment in that was worth it for me no matter what. Like I could have eaten, kids' chicken tenders, and I would have still been so happy because the vocal talent and the drums and just that live music of some of my favorite music that I grew up with in my childhood. I've never seen Lion King on Broadway, but it was pretty special.
Yeah,
so.
It is really special. I got to say, the Lion King on Broadway, you can't beat. So I'm not going to say that Pride Lands beats that, because that's incredible because of the visuals in addition to the vocalists. But the vocalists were as good on Disney Cruise Line as what you get on Broadway, I would say. And the drums are amazing. I think it's an amazing performance. It's just doesn't have the characters and it doesn't have the puppetry. And so that's, the only that, and that's not a negative. It's just, it's not that. It's not a full Broadway show. But I think it's wonderful.
That woman's vocal range to go from, the circle of life, and then she sings "Be Prepared," and then they're like, they're like, they have the whole, everybody's doing the lion sleep set. I mean, it was just fantastic, and it was really, really fun.
And they're going Hakuna Matata, Hakuna Matata.
So next day you're at Lookout. Is this your first time experiencing Lookout Key? Yes. All right.
Yes.
So we got to know, what did you think? And you apparently survived the pier walk, so that's a good first step. But
and you did an excursion.
Yeah. So tell us all about it.
Lookout Key was the best day. It was just fantastic. Again, I love the beach. I love to be in the sun and see the blue water. Like, that's my happy place. I also had to quote the little song. If you've been to Lookout and you've heard it, it's so addicting. You're in a Lutra. Everything's fine. It just sort of sets the tone. Like, yeah, you're walking on a long pier, but like, you can't get upset because you could see to the bottom of the water and they're playing this awesome little reggae vibe. So we had such a good time. We did the snorkel excursion first. It was like a 9 a.m., but on island time by the time everyone signed a waiver, which I got the signed waiver in my inbox like 3 weeks later and said that I was okay with a shark cage dive. And I was like, what? I thought it was spam. And then I read it and I read the address and I was like, they just have this as like a blanket thing. But I mean, I didn't go cage diving with sharks. That'd be cool, but I don't think Disney would be down for that.
No, not with a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old, I don't think.
Oh, gosh. No. But if you go to the next slide, I think you can see, unfortunately, we left our little GoPro at home and I was just not ready to try to take my son snorkeling over an actual reef, which did still have some sea like movement, and try to take photos underwater. So unfortunately, I didn't get to photograph it, but they have this catamaran, probably like 50 people-ish. Mm-hmm. And I want to say it was like $95 a person, worth every penny. It was fantastic. They had quite a crew of people that are very experienced you can tell they're scuba divers, but they free dive. And you would watch these guys, like you would be snorkeling and swimming out over the reef. And all of a sudden you would see fins on the ground and they're down at the bottom, just like hanging out, they were awesome. Incredible. They were so cool. These are guys that free dive. They probably spearfish and all that other cool stuff. So we went out and they said it was Miller's Reef with an A. And he said, you need to remember it's Miller's Reef with an A. It was such a healthy reef. It was so stunning. I haven't been snorkeling at a reef quite that, full of life in a long time. So that was really encouraging to see. But we saw a manta ray, eagle rays, little cuttlefish, every kind of parrotfish. And my son, we have one of those masks that goes around their whole face mm-hmm. and it has the snorkel, it sticks up. You can get them on Amazon and he swims around in our pool and plays, practices. So I wasn't sure how he was going to do, but he went all the way with me to the end of the reef, came back, kind of saw the waves and was like, okay, I'm done now. But he did it and he loved it.
Wow.
But he did it and it was fun. I was a little surprised they didn't require you to wear the life vest. I didn't wear one because I'm comfortable swimming. And for me, when I snorkel, I do like to dive down. So if I don't, after I dropped my son off, I was able to kind of snorkel the way I want to snorkel. And it was
Did they really require cool. the kids wear life vests though?
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Adults did not have to. Yeah. Adults did not have to. Yeah. The kids absolutely.
I will say I always wear a life vest when I'm snorkeling. I do not dive down because I don't want the fish to touch me. I want to look at the fish from a healthy distance. I know I'm weird, but I also, and I'm a good swimmer, but I do get tired after a while. And so if I want to spend a lot of time out in the water, right, I'll wear a life vest just so I don't have to try as hard, right? It makes it a little bit easier. And then I don't have to think about constantly, doggy paddling or whatnot. And I can just kind of float there without a worry, without a care. It looks like you had fun at the beach after the snorkeling adventure.
Yes, we went and had some lunch, which was okay. Actually, the kids and everybody liked it. I'm not a huge barbecue person, but I found stuff to eat. And I found a Mai Tai, which was lovely. So I don't know.
Nothing wrong with a Mai Tai for lunch.
Yeah. But they had all the basics that were there, and that was fine. It did take a little bit of time, but I have a feeling it was because they weren't really directing people on the lines quite. It just seemed a little awkward, but we had a great time at the beach. The kids did the rush out, gush out area. They went to the kids club. We went and listened to the junk canoe. I didn't get enough pictures of everything. But I had to make a comment about these land crabs because I feel like no one talks about them. And there were so many of them. And it was such an adventure figuring these things out. I mean, hundreds and thousands of them on that tram ride. But then once you get to the beach, they're gone. You didn't see one.
Yeah. Although I saw a video of one. I know Tracy's going to comment about this in the comments because she already said, "Watch out for the turtle, Sam," because she protects me from the animals that want to come near me in the water. But we saw a video where there was a land crab at Lookout, and it went into the ladies' bathroom. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised. That's funny.
Yeah,
they're nice bathrooms, from what I hear, Sam. So yeah,
I mean, they are nice bathrooms.
They are very nice bathrooms. But yeah, I had to look up what it was called for science, Bahamian black land crab. But the whole tram ride was this. It felt like you're on a ride at old Universal Studios, and everyone's like, "What is that? Oh my gosh!" And then all of a sudden, the tram would go over and like run one over, and the whole collective like, "Oh no!
Oh no!"
It's still entertaining the whole way there and the whole way back. I mean, there were hundreds of them, but I saw that. Particularly spring to June is a time where they're a healthy part of the ecosystem. So
I was gonna say we haven't seen them. I haven't seen them out in that kind of force when we've been on.
Yeah, we've seen a few, but not like hundreds of it.
It was hundreds to thousands on that tram ride. It was fascinating. I didn't get a lot of good pictures because it was moving too fast. But I mean,
it's one of the reasons they have Sandy. It's Sandy and Lizzie because Sandy's the crab and Lizzie's the lizard, and that's the predominant. Yeah. So cool.
Yeah, we did see lots of great wildlife. Lookout Key was super cool. A really beautiful day. I loved the Bahamian cultural influences there too. That just sort of like added something different and special. It was great.
So overall, a good day at Lookout. You'd go back?
Oh my gosh, it was incredible. I would go back tomorrow if someone told me I could be there really quickly.
Nice.
So
nice.
Yeah.
All right. So it sounds like on this night, you guys decided to skip your dinner rotation. You asked the question, underrated. I say not at all.
I know for this crowd, that is probably the answer, especially if it was Pirate Night. But when it was a regular rotational, like a new menu at 1923, it was really hard for us to make that choice. I don't know, because we had never had it and we liked our serving team, but we had such a full day. I mean, I swam at that reef. My daughter and I swam out to the buoys and like snorkeled on the beach. I mean, we were in the sun all day. Then they wanted to ride the Aquamouse like 10 times when we got back. Get in the pool. I mean, it was just like, even with late dinner, we were like, we don't want to get dressed up. We just want to be in swimsuits, shower, and be in like a comfy clothes that evening.
You made the right choice because 1923 night 2, if you haven't experienced it, it's not our favorite menu. I'll just put it that way. But
it's the lobster night menu, which means you get an overcooked lobster tail that's not of a great, it's like a lower banquet quality lobster tail. Let's put it that way.
Wait, hold on. If you don't eat lobster all the time, it's a perfectly serviceable lobster tail. Okay, Sam, but you've had really good lobster, and so that's a different
really good lobster.
Yeah,
I've taught my own lobster before, so
I have not done that, Sarah. That would be the
Florida
epitome.
living.
Yeah, but I think the quality of lobster that they get is not great on in main dining, and then because they're making it for so many people, it just comes out overcooked every time. And I've tried a couple times on various sailings, and it doesn't work for me.
Right. Well, and it is cool. Like we had some pool food, but some of the stuff out there, it's all fine, but I can only do so many, I do love that pizza, but I had my eye on some of the things on the room service menu. And actually, when we were waiting for some of this food, again, people like just ask questions. It's amazing to me how many people are new and they need to find your podcast. I think I told someone that they're like, where do you know all this information from? I think I gave you guys a shout out.
But a little plug.
People don't know, and maybe we don't need to advertise it, that you can get room service for free, really whatever you want. So the kids got all the stuff they wanted. And then we went back and placed an order for those, like the wings and those like P-Day things, like the spinach and feta P-Day. It was like amazing. And I don't know, it was just kind of cool to like change it up that night. It gave us some freedom to go around and try, like look at different spaces we hadn't seen on the ship, and for everybody to take their time. So it was fun.
Nice.
Yeah. I think it's a great way to do an evening. If you have especially if you've had a really like full day, it's nice to kind of take it more leisurely. It's also great, you get the kids the poolside food, you get back to the room, everybody still has to shower, right? So like you place the order, and then when everybody's sort of showering is when because it's going to take time, maybe like an hour for you to get food from room service, especially if it's dinner time on the ship. And so that's perfect.
So Sarah, I want to ask, hold on, I want to ask,
Sure.
hold on, I want to ask one question that's coming in from the chat, which is Lookout versus Castaway. Which do you prefer, Sarah?
Oh, wow. Oh, man. So I think just based on the weather that we had and the temperature, Lookout would win for me. When we were at Castaway, it was like hot July. My kids were young and like in the let's complain about everything phase. Well, I don't know if they're ever really out of that phase, but
I was to say, does that go away and when?
They're a lot more resilient at the age they're at now. And I'm more comfortable. I mean, in the ocean, we have to be careful, but I'm more comfortable with my kids. So I think there's just a comfortability that I was able to have there. And it was just gorgeous. But spoiler, I'll be back at Castaway later this summer. I can report back.
Nice.
I love it.
All right. I want to end on this. There's a few slides for folks at home. There's a few slides that we're not going to be able to get to because we're already
10
minutes over an hour. No, it's not your fault. This is great stuff. Love talking about it. I'm going to end on this slide because if we don't talk about Hercules and hear your thoughts about Hercules,
I'm going to burn this place to the ground.
I will have to go sleep in the car for the next week. So
he's going to get a land crab. Put it in your bed.
He's going to get a land crab in his bathroom.
Sarah, Hercules, what'd you think?
It exceeded my expectations in a knockout way. I don't think that you guys do the rapid fire on these live shows, but I mean, the music from Hercules has just been a favorite. I know the lyrics to everything. That's just like how my brain works. But they brought a new level. Some of the traveling Broadway artists that were on, and I can't remember their names, I'm so sorry, but one of them was like the lead muse. She was fantastic. Just Pegasus was so funny. I mean, everything about the show, it was just, it was not what I expected. And it was amazing. Like I have a dance theater background. Like there were elements of dance that I wasn't expecting in this, like hip hop and jazz, and kind of this like soul vibe. But then Megara really felt like to me like the embodiment of the Megara that was in the movie. I don't know. It was just really cool. It was a really awesome experience. My son fell asleep. I was so sad because I wanted him to see all the cool puppets, and he had just watched Hercules and started loving it. But my daughter's into theater now and was like in her first junior musical this year. And so we were all just having the best time. It was amazing.
I love it. I love this picture of you all, by the way.
It's so cheesy.
It's the best though. And we had to make it the show art, but of course, because your son is so small, he was completely obstructed by all the words announcing that. We felt so bad, but we felt like this was the picture. We just love it so much. It's such
so
a great
cheesy,
spot.
but I love it. Yeah. He, even though he didn't see all of it, I don't know if it's because he's missing 2 teeth, but he really learned how to whistle. And like the other day he was in the other room making Legos and he was whistling, "I Can Go the Distance." I was like, what's happening?
I love it. That's awesome.
Like I've succeeded at something as a parent. There you go.
You absolutely have. Okay. Well, you're right. We don't do rapid fire on the live show, but I will ask you the favorite between the Wish and the Destiny now that you've been on these 2 ships. And then I know Brian wants to ask you what's next, but I'm gonna steal his thunder and ask you what's next because you do have others.
Hey now!
I just listened to your other show where he did all the rapid fires.
Yeah,
there you go.
She stole my question from me, and so I'm like, I'm stealing your whole segment. Watch out, Sam! I can just delete you off this view right now.
You can totally just kick me off, and I'll not be able to do anything about it.
Oh my goodness! Well, I mean, the Destiny wins. We were on that ship for a longer time, and there were just some elements of it that surprised me. But there are some spaces on the Wish that I really loved. I miss Nightingales. Like DeVille's was cool, but I never got to be in there when they had the cool shows that I really wanted to see, that were my thing that I would have waited in line for because it was always at capacity. And the red and black and white, like it's cool. It's not my vibe, but but they play like Broadway and Disney piano in there, so you can't go wrong. Anyways, the Destiny probably for now, but I am taking a little weekend cruise with the kids so that they're not super upset that dad will be out of town. Actually, there's multiple cruises happening this summer. So we're taking a 3-night on the Wish, which I know people like are opposed to, but when it's that close and you price it out versus a Disney weekend,
I am not if you live in Florida, I say jump on a 3-night cruise on the Wish whenever you can. You're not flying. So that's the difference. Like for us, it's too far 100%. To, fly 5-6 hours and then get on a 3-night cruise and then you're off and then we got to fly home. It's just not worth it.
But I do it.
I'd be stressed.
I mean, I do it.
We have done it. We have done it.
Sure.
So, I mean, if somebody gave me a free cruise, I'd for sure do it. But like, it is, but if you live close by and you have a 3-day weekend, your husband's going to be deployed soon. Like you want to give your kids a distraction and a really fun weekend. I think that's a great idea, Sarah. I don't think you can go wrong with doing something like that. Right. I'm super excited for you all to get back on the Wish. I think
there's nothing better. We've seen people board 3-night cruises with just a backpack. So like not having to drag all that luggage and unpack and pack. Like it has its advantages.
I'd still have a big suitcase. I'd still probably have a trunk showing me. I mean, just for my ears.
Well, there's accessories and popcorn buckets and all the things.
Right.
I think because we've been on this class ship, and that's the only class we've been on, and then the Destiny was 5 nights, I feel really comfortable with the layout of the ship. So I think that'll help us on this Wish cruise. Like we know what we don't need to spend time on that isn't really a priority for our family. Like we didn't get to see Aladdin the last time because my son had a meltdown and we had early dinner and it was just one of those things. So like, we're going to go see Aladdin. And my daughter just did Little Mermaid Junior. So she wants to see that again because she doesn't really remember it. And so, we're excited. We're excited for it. And then I may or may not be going on a longer cruise on a different cruise line also this summer with a friend who does all the musicals with me. We're taking the kids, just moms and kids on a Norwegian cruise. And I'm kind of scared, honestly. It looks amazing, but all this talk on Disney Cruise Line, now I'm like having a little bit of anxiety.
So I absolutely need you to come back and talk to us.
I was going to say the same
Norwegian
thing.
Is one of the lines we've covered it before, but not extensively. And
not in a while, not extensively.
I would love to hear your experience with Norwegian Cruise Line. If you take it.
And it's a divisive ship. It's the Prima out of Canaveral. It was a great deal, and I'm going to be gone on the 4th of July, which feels really like anti-American. But anyways, it's going to be fine. We're going to be on the private island. It'll be fun. But that ship has a lot when you look online. But, Disney Cruise Line has a lot of opinions about things. I think we're going to have a great time. I chose it, for cost and just to try something different.
Yeah.
And it seemed to have a lot for families too, not Disney, but it has a lot going on for families. So we'll see. And it'll be right after the Wish. So I'll have a lot to talk about.
You'll have a lot to compare. Absolutely.
I absolutely want to hear what your experience is like. And I want to know what your kids thought about the experience. Because Norwegian is definitely trying to push into the family market. They're one of the lines that's trying. So I'd be curious what it's like. But
I am too. I'm curious.
All right. We are 16 minutes over our allotted time, Sam. So I was going to say,
all right.
Thanks, everyone. I got it. I got the outro, Sam. Go ahead.
Wait, but can I just say one thank you first, Sarah, for your family service, your family sacrifice, not just your husband's service, but your service and your sacrifice as the wife of a military member. We know that families are the ones who invest a ton of time and don't get to be with their family member for long periods of time. So we just want to say thank you. And thank you, of course, for coming on the show. And then I'll let Brian lead the outro.
Well, then you just took it. So I was going to say, Sarah, thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking the time. Loved having you. Definitely want to have you back. For everyone out there watching, listening after the fact, we will be back next week on Monday night, regular time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And we will have a friend of the show, Doobie, is coming on from Laughing Place, who we got to meet when we were on the Destiny preview. And apparently Doobie is the reason that Laughing Place, that we got to meet Benji and others, because he was a fan of the show and told them about us. So excited to have Doobie on next week. Be sure to tune in. He is Disney fan, uber Disney fan, like he's going to be a
Uber Disney Cruise Line fan. He sailed on both the Wonder and the Destiny, both fairly recently as well. Sarah, stick around for a minute, but for everybody else, we will say good night and we will see you next week.
Well, thanks to everyone out there for listening this week. We really, really appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you can keep getting great content from us every week. In fact, twice a week we publish shows. So be sure to hit the subscribe button to get all of those great episodes. And if you want to watch us live, we have a live show now every week, Monday nights, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern over on youtube.com/DCL Duo. So be sure to head over and check that out. If you want to help support the show, be sure to hit those 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And if you leave us a written review, a 5-star written review, we will read it at the top of one of our main episodes, so please head over there and hit those 5 stars. Of course, you can also help support the show by supporting our fabulous show sponsor, My Path Unwinding Travel. If you want to book your next Disney vacation, head over to mypathunwinding.com/DCL Duo or email them at dclduo@mypathunwinding.com so they know we sent you their way. If you've got questions or you'd like to connect with us, the best way to do that is to head over to dclduo.com. It's got links to all of our things, full catalog of the podcast episodes, including a searchable catalog for the podcast, links off to our vlog, a link to our Etsy store where we sell some fun fan-inspired magnets, link to our Patreon if you'd like to help directly support the show each and every month. Just head over to the website or patreon.com/DCLDuo. Also has a way for you to sign up for our Substack newsletter that we're hoping to start really pumping out monthly here at least, and a few blog articles that we've written. So DCLDuo.com is the best way to connect with us. You can also, of course, email us at info@DCLDuo.com or reach out to us on our voicemail line at 402-413-5590. That's 402-413-5590. The DCL Duo podcast is not affiliated with Disney Cruise Line, the Disney Company, or the Disney family of theme parks. The views expressed on the show are solely those of the individuals on the podcast and in no way reflect the views of the Disney Company or Disney Cruise Line. If you have questions about a Disney cruise or a Disney vacation, please contact the great folks over at My Path Unwinding Travel or Disney directly or your own travel agent. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time for another fabulous adventure with the DCL Duo. Good night.